Okay, we're recording. Okay, so I kind of debated on this team call, kind of what to talk about, and I just kept coming back to the thought that you guys are like really, I don't know, you're really I don't know the word, but really I don't know, but you're really good about going out and getting information for yourselves. I don't know if there's an actual word for that. You're really resourceful. Okay, that's the word. You're just really resourceful. You do trainings, you hop on calls, like you do just the extras. So I was like, well, what do they need? And I was like, I don't think they need more training. I think they get that enough from hopping on all of the trainings. They probably do it on their free time for PD. They're probably watching stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to like use this call to really pour into you and to help you pour into yourself. Okay. So if there's one thing I want you to either like write down or take away from this, it's that nobody else is going to do it for you. Okay. If you wrote it to yourself, you'd be like, nobody else is going to do it for me. Okay. And I mean this in a really good way, right? Nobody else can build this business for you. Nobody else can make your dreams come true. Okay. Nobody else can be you, right? That's your superpower. You hear it. It's super cliche, but it's so true. Like nobody else can do the things that you can do and that you can do well. Okay. So I'm just kind of going to give you, let's see, I have 5 kind of talking points just to help you like pour into yourself. And the first one is believe in you. Okay. Be your biggest fan. Okay. Be obsessed with the life that you want to live and be obsessed with the present life that you have. Okay. And I mean this in the best, I just mean this to be like your biggest fan. Don't ever, ever, ever rely on somebody for your own happiness. Don't ever rely on somebody for reaffirmation in your business. Like I will always be your biggest cheerleader and I will always give you affirmation. But the second you flip the switch and you're like, you know what, I don't need anybody to tell me how awesome I am. And I don't care if anybody doesn't think I'm awesome because I think I am. And I know there's people out there that do. The second you give yourself that freedom to be like, you know what, I'm freaking awesome and I'm a rock star, it's just a liberating feeling, okay? So be your biggest fan. And I don't mean that in like, it sounds really weird when you say that, but I don't mean that in like be like super cocky or be like full of yourself. I just mean that you need to know that you are amazing. You have an amazing opportunity and that you are going to, like, anybody that crosses paths with you is blessed because you are going to help them beyond anything else that anybody can give them. Right? You are going to be the very best coach for them because they chose you. So you have to believe that, right? You have to know that you are your biggest fan. Okay. You hear so many stories about, and I'm fortunate to not have one of these stories, but about like really successful coaches and top coaches who had unsupportive spouses, unsupportive families, unsupportive friends. Like there's so many different factors like that. But once you let that all go, because you're your biggest fan now and you're your energy bus, if you've ever heard that phrase, and you're where you pull motivation from, then none of that matters, right? Because you believe in you. Okay. And that kind of leads me to my second point. Okay. So first, you have to be your biggest fan. You have to be your cheerleader. Okay. Second point, nobody else is going to do this for you, right? So you have to be the one holding yourself accountable, right? It's a business. And when you treat it like a business, it's going to give you those business rewards that everybody wants. But I think that's where so many people fall short, is that they're actually not treating this like a business. They're treating it like a hobby. Okay. And a hobby is something you do every now and then when you feel like it, when it fits into your schedule, like you're still on your time, right? And if that's what you want from this business, if you want it to be a hobby, then that's great. Like, I think it's really good to decipher between those, but I know you two don't. I know you want it to be the business side. And so you have to hold yourself accountable, and you have to, whatever that looks like for you. So for me, that looks like, you've seen how I done my power hour. I track literally everything. And to me, that's my accountability. I know if I don't do that, then I'm not holding myself to a standard. And so you have to figure out for you, what is it that you're striving for every single day? What is a non-negotiable, right? We have some basic things like hitting Success Club and the vitals. But for you, what is that extra thing you're doing to hold yourself accountable and to make sure that you're showing up on the days where there is no motivation, right? Where you're tired, where the last thing you want to do is get on social media. Okay. How are you holding yourself accountable, and what's pushing yourself to do those things? Okay. Nobody else is going to hold you accountable. That's the one. I think the beauty in this business is that you are your boss, right? When you go to a job, right? You have a boss. So when I was at my teaching job, I had a boss. And if I didn't show up, like, I was going to be in trouble. So every day I showed up on time, because I knew if I didn't, my principal was going to come in and have a talk with me, right? Nobody does that in this job. Nobody is going to do that for you. You have to be your own boss, and you have to set your own standard for yourself. And sometimes that's hard because we don't want to fail, right? Sometimes it sucks when we have to set our own expectation, because it sucks to fail and it sucks to fall short. But if your standard, I think there's a fine line. If you can't reach your standard every day, right, it's probably a little too big. But if your standard is too easy, then you're probably not pushing yourself enough, right? So my standard for me every single day, aside from doing the vitals, aside from doing all the business things, is my kind of measurement. Like, okay, was I living today with intentionality within my business? Was I pushing as hard as I could every single day with my business? Was I replying back to messages as good as I could, or with as much presentness as I could? Is if I send out a share cart. My goal every single day is to send out one share cart. And that tells me that I'm moving my business forward. I tackled the day with intentionality. I had those conversations, and I was very precise. I was very to the point, and I was very genuine. Okay, those are the things that I have to do in order to send that share cart every day. Do I do that every day? No, right? But can I do that? Yes. And do I do it most days? I sure try. And so I'm not saying that has to be for you, but I think you have to have something, a little extra something that tells you, all right, like, just a reminder, like, what are you pushing for every day? What is going to tell you that you tackled the day with intentionality? Because there is this switch, you guys, and it took me a long, long time to figure it out. But when you truly believe and you tackle the day, like it is the last day of the month and you are one person away from Success Club, if you do that every single day in your business, it is transforming. It is transforming because your mindset is just like, it is a non-negotiable. I have to do this today. And so you are doing whatever it takes. You are pouring into these people. You are giving them life, right? And so it's just you have to find something that pushes you to just have intentionality every single day. And I think that's just an overall thing for our lives. Like what is giving you intentionality to like better your relationship with your husband, right? Mine, I listened to a podcast today and she was like, simply like once a week, just ask your significant other, like, hey, how did you feel loved from me this week? Like, what did you do or what did I do that made you feel loved? And so now I'm kind of thinking that and I'm like, well, crap. If I'm not every single day trying to show Justin a little piece of love, just a little something every single day, when I go to ask him that on Sunday night or Wednesday or whenever I do, and he doesn't have an answer, like that's on me, right? And so I think it's just being accountable and living intentional, you guys, and giving yourself that. Okay, so that was my second point, my second way to pour into you, hopefully. My third one, this is my favorite, and this is what has fueled my business from the beginning, is give yourself permission to dream big. Like, I'm not talking like just a dream, like just something that you want. I'm talking like the biggest dreams that you can think of for your family that you never thought could be possible. I'm talking those dreams, and give yourself permission to dream about them. Give yourself permission to think that that can happen for you one day, because the second you start telling yourself, or in the back of your head, you're thinking, oh, I could never have that. Oh, that's for her, not for me, right? Or just that little voice in the back of your head being like, I don't really know if that could happen. Like, you have to squash that voice that's tearing those dreams down, because dreams, those big dreams that when I was a teacher had no room in my life, they were a waste of my time, they just made me feel bad. Those are what push me now. Those big dreams about having this beautiful home on a lake, right? That was never possible on my teaching salary. Never, right? But now there's that small possibility, like I'm just riding on it. I'm riding on that dream that this can take me there. And so once you give yourself permission to dream the unthinkables and dream the things that you thought you could never have, like it will light your mind on fire every single day. And so that's why every single morning I do the Rachel Hollis method of journaling, right? Writing your dreams as if they've already happened. I write the biggest dreams I could ever think of for my life. Like every single morning, you guys, I write that I'm a top 10 coach. That sounds crazy. Like that's nuts, right? But I'm giving myself permission to dream it, because if I don't, I will never strive to be that, or I will never strive to have that for my family. I will never push to be financially free, and I will never push to have a home, a nice home. Like I'll just settle. And that's the worst thing you can do for yourself in life and in this business, is to settle for good, to settle for okay, to settle for I'll do it tomorrow, right? That is the worst thing you can do, is to settle. So give yourself that permission to be like, okay, I'm just gonna dream big. Okay. That has been from the beginning. The one thing that I have rode on until here and continue to is just those big dreams that I want for my family. Okay. Fourth, sacrifice. Nobody likes to hear it. It's like one of those super unsexy words that, I mean, people don't like. People don't like hearing that you're going to have to sacrifice and you're going to have to give some things up. And so kind of what for me, I guess I'm okay with sacrifice, because I know it's going to pay off down the road. So when I was teaching and I was doing full-time teaching and working my business, I was okay with missing out on extra things. I was okay with not going out on the weekends. I was okay with spending all Sunday and Saturday doing content or whatever and not going out to dinner or whatever. Like I was only okay with those things, because I know that my goal down the road is that when I have kids, I don't have to be away from them, right? I don't have to send them to daycare. That was always in the back of my head when I had to sacrifice the things that I wanted to do at the time, and to miss out on sometimes the fun things, to miss out on watching Netflix, to miss out on, I don't know, like I said, going out to eat with family. Like I had to miss out on some really fun things and some things that I really love to do, but I sacrificed it because I know down the road, I don't want to have to sacrifice time with my kids or with my family. Okay. So you have to be willing. You just have to have that bigger picture in mind. Okay. So just sacrifice. And sometimes it just looks like really small sacrifices. Like they say, it's actually crazy when you think about it. Like I think about prior to when I had Beachbody in my life and worked the business, I spent so many hours on the weekends, after work, in college, right? Like watching Netflix. They say that in the amount of time that you watch Netflix, you could build $1 million business. And that is so true. If you watch Netflix an hour a night, that's your power hour, right? So sometimes it's just the really small things that you have to sacrifice. And sometimes it's big things. Sometimes it's sleep. Sometimes you sacrifice sleep by getting up early, right? But you have to be okay with sacrifice, and you have to be willing to sacrifice, because you can't do it all. That's what I learned from the very beginning. You get burnt out. It's just not realistic. The things that are important get put on the back burner in your business. And so you have to put them first, and you have to sacrifice things along the way. And yeah, that was kind of my fourth tip, is be okay with sacrifice, because you know later down the road, you aren't going to have to miss out on the things that are more important than maybe something is right now. And so sometimes, like, this is kind of on a smaller scale. Sometimes I know during the week or on the weekend, I'll like go see my parents, or we'll do something over the weekend. And so I know I won't be able to work on a Saturday. I don't work on Sunday, or maybe a Friday. And so I do extra during the week, right? So I'm sacrificing that extra time that maybe I get to spend with Justin, or maybe that we get to go out and do something. I sacrifice that so I know I won't be stressed out over the weekend, okay? And then I kind of already mentioned this, but this is my last point to pour into you, but just focus on the big picture, right? And just like with the sacrificing, focus on the big picture. I put this in our morning guide, and it's actually a quote from Jocko Willink. Don't rely on motivation, because motivation isn't going to show up every single day. Rely on discipline, right? And so those are those small daily actions that it just becomes like second nature, right? It's just the routine. It's just what you do. And so just always keep the big picture in mind, those big dreams. Where are you going with your business? Why are you doing this? Why are you sacrificing every single day, right? And so you just have to keep that big picture in mind of where you're going and what you want in your life. Or sometimes the days where you don't feel like doing it are going to win over. Those days where you don't want to send invites and you're tired, that's going to win over if you lose sight of the big picture. And you guys, the big picture is so beautiful. It's such, I mean, no other person in any other sort of business can say that our big picture is to genuinely help people, right? Our big picture is to genuinely improve ourselves, to pour into PD, to pour into ourselves, to pour into other people, right? Our job, right, is to pour into these people so we can pour into our family. Oh, I heard this the other day. I wrote it down somewhere. I have so many notebooks, I can't keep track. It was so good. I'm gonna find it. Bear with me. Okay, it was from the podcast, I actually think, this morning, but it's like, we do business for our relationships, right? So we work freaking hard in our business to better our relationship with our spouses, right? To better the financial situation so there's not much stress, to better our relationship with our kids. Well, your guys is our future kids, right? So we can send them to college, right? Like, we do the business so we can better our relationships. Like, I retired from teaching and I do this full time and I work really hard. So now I can see my parents on the weekends. So now I can visit them over Christmas. Like, we do business for our relationships, and that's the big picture. And once you realize how beautiful of a gift that is, it's like, all right, I can do 10 invites, or I can do 10 more invites, because what I'm doing right now is pouring into relationships with my clients, with my team, with my family. Okay, so it's just so important. And Justin is making dinner, so he heard me talking about this, and he handed me this note. I think you guys are gonna like it. Discipline equals freedom. Can you see it? Discipline equals freedom. That's another Jocko Wilkins, or whatever his name is, quote. And he's obsessed with him, but discipline equals freedom, right? Once you stay disciplined in the business, like Micah, I always think about Micah. She was so disciplined. Her superpower is super, super consistent. And over like 4 years, even 3, like, and over 5 now, she's made $1 million business, right? In a year. Like, her discipline now leads to her freedom, right? And so that's what I just keep in mind. And it's small steps along the way. We don't have to be on Micah's level to still have that freedom. Okay, discipline for me has equaled retiring from my teaching job and having the freedom to work from home. Okay, there's such small scales, small wins that we can celebrate. Beforehand, before I even retired, it was discipline with my workouts and my nutrition. It equaled freedom to feel good about myself, freedom to love myself, right? Because I was taking care of myself. So it doesn't have to be these huge scaled wins all the time. It's those small things that we do every single day. It's discipline of sending invites, help me connect to you guys. That's a freedom. That's a beautiful thing that I have now, this like freedom of friendship, this like freedom to be myself around people that I love. Like, it's just small scale things we have to celebrate. It doesn't have to be Micah's success, and we can't expect that right off the bat, right? So anyway, those are kind of what I wrote down, and how I just wanted to, I didn't want it to be like a training of how to do things, but just something to pour into you to give yourself belief, because you guys, nobody can do it for me, right? Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can believe in you. So if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe you can do it, you need to pour into personal development. If you have any hesitations, anything's pulling you down, pour into personal development. That is like the thing that just keeps you going. So anyways, that's all I got. Do you guys have any questions, or just anything you want to see or add? Okay, well, let me do a boomerang before I forget. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Sweet. Okay, well, again, you guys, thanks. It just means a lot that you guys hop on. I mean, like in the mornings, in the nights, and all in between. So you guys are awesome. I hope like we all get to like hang out one day. Well, I know we will in person. It'll be really fun. Sweet. All right, you guys. Well, I will let you go. Have a great night. Thanks for hopping on. Bye, guys.